blast in front of somebody right behind you and you're like, fuck it. I'm distracted, I'm trying to film something. Yesterday was my birthday, so I'm thinking about getting older, even though I feel like 33 isn't old at all, but I felt kind of silly. I've always had this issue with feeling silly when I'm, I don't know, creating or expressing myself. There's like this big part of me that wants to bat it down and like, well, that's dumb, this is stupid, you should just not do it. I don't understand what part of me that is, but I've broken through it because I was thinking like, why am I dirt biking on my 33rd birthday? Like, this seems kind of silly. Should I be doing something else? And I was like, no, I really like the challenge, and I've been drawn to it because it's challenging when I thought it was going to be easy. Like, the last couple of times I've gotten on a dirt bike, I'm like, oh, this is going to be easy. And I hop on it and I'm like, God, this is hard. But there's so many things I'm having to unlearn as like a highway rider. And I keep coming back to it. I keep feeling drawn to that, and I shouldn't ignore it, and I shouldn't think that it's fucking dumb or silly, because I want to do it. But it doesn't help, like, I show up and my coach is, I don't know, 16 or 17, but he's really good, you know, and he's been riding forever, his whole life practically. And I was asking him, dude, I was like, dude, am I the oldest person? He's like, no, I had somebody out here, he was 60, we were fucking tearing it up, he was right behind me the whole time. And I was thinking about the rest of my life and how that's the person I want to be. And it doesn't matter when you start it. Because I think in America, you know, we all just kind of hop on street bikes and then that's that. Unless you grew up in the country or your dad had a dirt bike. Unless you know, had a Jedi Master who was just like, here is something fun, go do this the fun right way. So it's me, it's like I just bought a fucking 1000cc bike and then got on the highway, and then that was that. That was the extent of my skill, was just not crashing. So I'm doing things backwards, but it doesn't matter, it's still diverse. I still learned like a lot yesterday, and it was motivating to be physically in shape, which is something I don't ever really encounter, because I don't like running unless I'm being chased. I mean, I guess I like cycling a lot, but it was just like a really big portal that I was opening up, and my husband was like, you're probably avoiding your midlife crisis by doing this right now and just doing the things that challenge you and doing the things that you think about. And I was like, that's a really good point. Is I'm sure every decade that goes on, you encounter this kind of same issue of entropy related challenges, like, who do I want to be? Who do I want to become? Am I being satiated on every creative level, on an intellectual level? You're always changing, and I don't want to change into complacency, and I don't want to change into being boring. Like, I want to just be kind of, I guess, what we would consider nutty, and just fucking have fun all the time. Like, why should I ever feel weird about that? I think that's just societal conditioning, to be honest. I think we're kind of going through this transformative age where it's like, I don't want to do the thing that everyone else thinks I should do, and does that even exist? It probably doesn't. We have this idea of what society thinks that we should do, and it's like, says who? Is that real? It's not even written down anywhere. It's like, do we think that because of movies and TV and books and just the examples around us? And I was thinking about the examples around us, and I was like, yes. If there aren't any better examples, then why can't we be them ourselves? Because everyone's always like, man, you're like a cool mom. I was like, what does that mean? They're like, I don't know, you don't lose yourself in momness. I was like, that's interesting. I guess, is that what momming has become? Like, something that envelops all aspects of our personality? And rightfully so. It's a big job. It's more than 24 hours a day. It feels like you need to quantify it in a much more saturated sense than the hourly. It's like every millisecond And that's fine. But I can't lose who I am, because then what happens? It sounds kind of dangerous. And just like that, in 6 minutes, here we are at therapy. I will catch you guys in 45 fucking minutes. Are you kidding me? Oh, fuck. Wait, for real? Oh, God. I'm fucking returning this right now if it doesn't start. Oh. That was weird. All right. I am therapized. And my therapist ended the session by saying, wow, you have a lot going on right now, and that's a lot to think about, and maybe it's time. I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. There is a lot going on. There is a lot to think about. Shit. But what were we talking about? I should take notes. I think we were talking about challenging yourself regardless of if you feel silly or not, or if it feels like maybe it's too late, maybe you've missed the boat and the ship has sailed. But I think that sort of mentality of complacency is what causes midlife crisis, or people to suddenly, wake up in their 50s and go, man, I don't know if I've lived a fulfilled life. I think if you're just constantly always challenging yourself and kind of shifting your paradigm more and more to who you are and who you're supposed to be, and your actual true, as what Mitch Hurwitz calls your chief definite aim, which is a pretty broad goal, but it will encompass all of your passions and likes if it's broad enough, and if it's truly your passion. I think the more that we work on gaining clarity with that and kind of scrubbing societal implications of who we think we should be, or afraid to say what we really want, I think then war would just stop. Hunger would cease. Suddenly everybody would be full and satiated and richer because we were all truly expressing who we are. And I try not to come at that from a privileged sense of, your finances being met. Oh, this dog's I want to chase that. I want to chase that bike! Because I've worked really hard to get where I'm at. And I've done a lot of work on myself. And I continue to do work on myself, even though I'm man, do I still need to be going to therapy? It's everybody should be going to therapy. Everybody should be constantly trying to, reframe how they look at themselves and how they look at situations and deal with their emotions. Because I think that that's ever changing, until you become Christ or Buddha or whatever, whatever version of that consciousness you'd like to call it. That's the ultimate goal. Anyways, I love when you guys message me and I kind of leave with a question. I deeply enjoy reading your guys' thoughts on my thoughts. I think it's a fun forum to discuss brain-related landscapes. But so my question is, are you challenging yourself enough? Are you shifting your paradigm enough? Do you have clarity on what it is that you're really passionate about in terms of your life? If it wasn't a monetary driven motivation, or if it was, I don't know. It's are you making steps towards that? Are you being challenged enough? Because that's something I'm thinking about. And I got this tattoo in Lockhart by this artist named, and he was telling me, of course, we were talking about psychedelics, and he was like, I love that feeling of being on the edge and not of chaos. He's like, that's why I do psychedelics. And I was like, man, that's the part I hate. But I'm always really interested when I meet somebody who's flipped the script. Because I'm like, that's a different perspective that I guess that's the other side of the coin, right? It's like, oh man, I hate that feeling, or I hate making these decisions. And it's like, well, why don't I just figure out how to enjoy it? Or, you know, whip your big brain's dick out and be like, fuck this, don't treat me this way, you know, to your boss or whatever, coworkers, and demand what you want, know what you want. It can be really tough. There are a lot of options these days. I think the landscape has changed in a lot of different ways in terms of options. Dude, I want to be drinking a 40 outside of a gas station right now. It's hot. So let me know down in the comments or shoot me a message on Instagram like some of you do. Are you shedding your cicada-like skin of interests? That's what I want to know. Are you being embarrassed that the guy teaching you dirt biking is 17 years old? Or do you aspire to live the second half of your life to the fullest? I feel like I'm just now getting to the point where, you know, you can stop struggling and start really living. And it's probably that way for a lot of people. And thinking that it would happen sooner is just a fucking facade.